Hi, everybody. My name is Lisa, and I am here to help you raise your vibration. So, today I wanted to talk to you about Kundalini Awakening. What is Kundalini? Kundalini is the energy, life force that sits at the base of your spine. And when it's activated, it actually uh, brings up a lot of different emotions and feelings that are no longer of service for you. So I went through what's called the dark night of the soul. I've also experienced a Kundalini awakening pretty much simultaneously. So what I wanted to share with you are some of the signs and symptoms of what a Kundalini awakening is. The Kundalini awakening starts usually with a feeling of restlessness, a feeling of not understanding like what's going on with your body. You feel like you just nothing seems to be working. You can't sit still. And this is just general. Not this isn't for everybody, but this is what happened for me. So my sleep pattern was off. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't settle down enough to sleep. It felt like my body just wanted to continue to move, and it felt very jumpy and jittery and uncomfortable. What I have come to find out is that is the energy source that is coming up from inside, from the spine, at the base of the spine is where it was settling. But now it's like wanting to move through my chakras and out through my crown. But with me not understanding and fighting against it, it actually got stuck. So some of the other things that happened with me was, again, I wasn't sleeping. You might also, as I did, experience feelings of depression, anxiety. You might also have like hot flashes, even when you're not menopausal. And it feels like, for me, it was, I knew the difference between a hot flash and the different feeling of the heat inside my body, because it felt like my body was on fire. I just couldn't get cooled off. It was really, really difficult. And that is also that energy field. Another symptom you might have is when you're going through a Kundalini awakening is that your body starts moving in different ways. They call these mudras in the yoga practice. The mudras is your energy field, and your body wants to move. And what it does is it's a clearing and a cleansing of the chakras. For me, I didn't understand it, but my body would shake and vibrate. It was almost like this vibrational feeling, like on the inside. And then also my hands would I would start doing hand movements that are called mudras. And I would be like starting out at the namaste, and then I would be, my hands would be moving around, clearing energy and doing things like this as I was sitting quietly. And it was just like I wasn't understanding what was going on, but these are the things that were happening for me. And these might also happen for you. What I had to learn was later on was to allow that energy to flow. Some of the things that are important, if you do feel these kind of things and these movements coming up, to get yourself grounded. It's very important to feel grounded. Go outside, go for a walk in nature, take your shoes off, put your feet on the ground, and just feel the earth beneath you. That's a really good grounding tool. Another good grounding tool could be meditation. And then also there is a yoga practice, which is called Kundalini Yoga, and that also helps the energy to move. These are tools I wish I would have had when I was going through my Kundalini experience, but now that I'm on the other side, I understand. Another symptom you might have is that you feel disconnected. You feel disconnected from spirit, you feel disconnected from God, you feel confused. You also might have these feelings of wanting to know what this is all about. Like, what the hell are we here for? Why are we here? What is going on? Is this a joke? These are the questions you start asking yourself. And what ends up happening is when you're going through this, many people will also experience the dark night of the soul, because a lot of your old emotions start coming up. You start feeling like old memories of the past, like where did this come from? And they are feelings and memories that you didn't deal with, feelings of guilt and shame, anger, hurt, frustration, feelings like desertion, people deserting us as we were, growing up. And all these feelings start to come out. I mean, I would stay up night after night thinking of all these things that I did to hurt people, and what caused shame and guilt for me. And I know with my like I also, like, I had a hysterectomy, and why that came up I don't know. At that time I didn't understand it, but I was repenting and I was asking God to forgive me for all these things that I had done. And I would cry. Oh my gosh, the crying jags were just unbearable, and the feeling of just dread and pain of the things and the hurt that I caused others was just, it was really unbearable. And I would cry night after night as I was going through this releasing of my old patterns and my old ways and the old memories that just were no longer serving. One of the things that I came to understand later on was just the fact that all of that was necessary for me to move forward in my spiritual journey. And it's what I've also come to find out, that many people that go through a Kundalini awakening or a dark night of the soul are light workers. And we came here with a purpose, but life got interfered with our purpose. The things that our parents and people that raised us, and all well-meaning, were just things that held us back, and they were misinformation. And you'll start to open up and realize that there's more to this world than what we thought it was. There's more out there. It's not just three-dimensional. It is now five-dimensional and above. And these are the things that start clearing your mind. It starts clearing your energy field. All of these things start to happen. And it can be very, very frightening. For me, it was a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. So it wasn't something that I worked with a guru or I was meditating and then all of a sudden something happened. It was something that started out gradual, but then as it progressed, it became more and more frightening. I actually thought I was going crazy. I thought I was insane because I was having hallucinations, and I was delving into the dark realms I started out like with the light realms, and I thought, oh wow, everything's euphoric, and I found, nirvana, and I just nirvana, and I just thought, oh wow, everything's great. But then it would turn dark, and I needed to delve into the darkness of my soul and that dark side, what they call the shadow self. And I had to learn to work through my shadow energies that were not working anymore for me. The shadow self is what I have come to learn, for me, is the ego. And I call it the evil, greedy ogre. And it wants to tell you everything that is just not truth about who you are and why you're here, and it just wants to keep its power over you. So it's all about all of these things coming up and learning to get rid of them, releasing them. And so it was very, very frightening. As I came out of it, I ended up in a mental institution because the person I was with at the time didn't understand what I was going through, nor did I. I actually did believe I was going crazy and I needed help. And I ended up in a mental institution for a week because they couldn't understand. I mean, there was no drugs in my system, there was no alcohol, there was no abuse, there was no history of me having any kind of mental breakdown. And all of this was like, just not in my character. So for them, when they saw all of this happening, they didn't know what to do with me. So of course, what do? They drug you up, and that wasn't working. It just made things worse. So once I got some rest, of course, I was able to get a little bit more understanding of what was happening, that this wasn't normal, that there was something more to it. It took me almost a year till I found out what my experience was, which was the Kundalini Awakening and Dark Night of the Soul. But that was a very difficult time, and I actually had post-traumatic stress disorder after the experience. So that's why I'm saying I'm not. This is not for sissies. None of it is. Dark night of the soul, the energies for the Kundalini energies that come about. None of this is for sissies, because I'm telling you what, it is tough. It is tough, and you got to get down and dirty into all of the ugly of our past and all of the things that hold us back. And once you do that, the cleansing and the clearing is amazing. But the shame and the guilt was important to get rid of. I'm still working on it every day. It's not something like a one and done. These are things that I need to release daily as they come up. Now I learn not to just hide them underneath the carpet, so to speak, and now I get rid of them, and I feel so much better when I do that at first start of my morning, to release things and let them go. My day goes a lot better, and I learned to do that through meditation and just speaking to my angel guides and spirit guides and things like that. The other thing that you'll find as you start going through this, you're going to find, and this may or may not happen, but for me, what happened was the old ways were no longer working. I was in a toxic relationship. At the time, I didn't realize it was toxic because I had put these rose-colored glasses on and I wanted to pretend like everything was always okay. And I learned that from childhood, coming from an alcoholic family. My father was an alcoholic. My mother died early from cancer. So, a lot of trauma in my family growing up. So I learned to pretend like everything was always okay. And I took this into my adulthood with this relationship that I was in. And I knew that once I started to heal, that it was time for me to move on. My Kundalini Awakening started in January, February, March of 2014. By August of 2014, I was asking my then husband for a divorce. And I had no idea how I was going to support myself, because he didn't like me to work outside the home unless we had our own business. That's the only way I would work. But long story short, things just started happening. I had to reinvent myself and find out who I truly was. I had to go inside deeply. And I'm telling you what, guys, I cried like for floods and oceans of tears, releasing all of this energy. I didn't even know why I was crying anymore, but what I came to understand later was the fact that the old me was dying off. It was like I was shedding all of these old layers that just, they weren't helping, they weren't serving me anymore. And I was mourning myself. I was mourning the death of me, the old me. And I was becoming reborn like a butterfly. And it was I was in the cocoon as I was going through this transition of the Kundalini. And then when I came out of it, I had became the butterfly. And it was an amazing experience now when I look back on it. But at the time, it was so scary and hard. But the tears, I can remember my sister, she says, if you call me one more time and you're crying, I'm going to hang up. But I worked through it and I cried, and it was important to release that and let it go. And that's what I want you to do. Just let it go. Cry if you need to cry. Stomp your feet. Do whatever you need to do. Take a fit if you need to, but then pick yourself up, brush yourself off, and move on. Let it go and release it. So that's what I did, and it took me everything I had to put a resume together, and it was hard, and because the depression was still there. I was going to counseling by this time and getting some help with understanding my experience. And I even had to get on some depression medication, which was okay. At the time, I needed it. I'm not, never would I say not to do that, because some of us really, we do need it. So it's important to take advantage of what's there for you to help you through these things. But the other thing is that synchronicities started happening. I put an application out there for a furniture company, and they were in the area of, about a couple hour drive from where I used to live. And my cousin lived in that area, and I hadn't been in contact with her for a while. We back and forth a little bit here and there, but we were never all that close. But somehow, some way, I decided I wanted to call her and tell her the experience that I was going through. And she said if I ever needed a place to stay, that to call her, and her home was open for me. Well, I told her, I said, well, I appreciate it, and until I can get a job, I don't want to take advantage of that. And lo and behold, the job came through, and I said, if that offer is still available, and she said, come on down. So I packed up whatever I could fit in one car, and I left everything else behind, and that's what I needed to do. Because the man I was with told me that I was getting nothing, and and I had to make the decision what was more important, things or my sanity and my future. And I chose me, and that's exactly what I did. I packed up what I could get in a car, and I drove to my cousin's, and I stayed with her and her husband until I was back on my feet. And I worked, and I'm still with the same company, so it's pretty cool. But what I'm saying is, it's scary, but you feel like you have no other course but to move forward and to let the old ways behind. It doesn't always have to be the breakup of a relationship, but it might be just ways that you were spending your time and people you were dealing with and who you were working with. So anyway, but there are different things that are happening in your life now. I mean, when you come out of this, for me, it's been amazing to experience and to find out who I truly am. I have learned to speak my truth. I have learned to be me, just to be me and be who I was meant to be, and share my love with people. What I have come to understand is the realization, and you may go through this too as you experience your awakening, is that God is a part of all things, and we are not separate. We are all one. What we do to ourselves or what we do to another, we do to all. And that is the truth. There's no, stepping back from that. And so once you understand that, you start treating yourself better. You start treating yourself with more kindness. You start treating others with more love and understanding and appreciation, kindness. You just can't help but to do that. So don't be afraid. You're not going crazy. I promise you're not going crazy. If you want to, reach out to me, please do so. Comment below. There is a section for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also, if you want to click the like button, that would be awesome. So subscribe and click down below and like, and make a comment if you'd like. And I'd be more than happy to share some information with you. So I really appreciate this time that I spent with you, and I appreciate you taking the time to spend with me. And I'd send you love and blessings and peace. Namaste.